Hi there and welcome back to the studio for this Patreon exclusive. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here once again. Now, I've been really inspired by the questions that you've been sending through as a result of that Q&A video I did a little while ago. It seems that a lot of people want to know about the business side, and they also, of course, have plenty of technical questions. Now, you might have seen some of those critique videos as well, and so what I wanted to do here is combine both, in a sense, the business side and that technical side, and show you how I actually work with one of my clients. I just got a client through who's commissioned at painting. Yes, this is a real life commission, and I want to show you the process that I go through of creating designs and giving my client options to choose from and bringing them into that creative decision-making process. You see, when I do a commission, what I try to do is maintain that artistic integrity and creative freedom so that I don't feel so hemmed in and controlled, but also I bring the client in so that they feel like they're part of that process as well, and they ultimately have ownership of the idea. It really is a win-win situation. So what I do is I create options for them to choose from of things that I would paint anyway. So it doesn't matter what they choose, everyone ends up a winner. But ultimately, I end up really engaged in the process the whole way through the project. So, what's the brief? Well, this commission has got to be the Kimberley, it's got to be a waterfall, and it has to be vertical format. And just side note, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a really big painting. So, I couldn't be more happy about the subject. I think it's going to be a really cool project. And what I'm thinking here is, ordinarily, I would do 3 designs. I'd do 3 drawings, and it would be A, B, or C, right? But here, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do a bit more than just 3 because I've got so many ideas for Kimberley Waterfall. So what I wanna show you here in this video is a bit of my photographic reference, how I go about putting together references into specific categories to start forming an idea, how that ends up becoming a sketch, and working that up into a digital concept sketch with color so that when the client sees the idea, they can really put themselves there and they can see clearly where the painting can go. And then finally in this video, we're gonna submit that idea to the client through my agent, Andreas, and we're gonna get some feedback about what our client likes. So I'm really excited about this. Let's jump in and start digging through that reference material. Okay, well, I keep most of my photographic reference material on hard drives. So these big brick looking things. Now here we are in photo reference 18. That's 2018 when I last backed this particular drive up. And I keep a lot of different files in here. So here's a brief look at my photographic reference file. I've got various subjects that relate to WA. So we've got some coastal stuff, Rottnest Island, the Nullarbor Plain, some local scenes there. When I used to live in Perth, that would be some things that would go on that folder. So we'll click on the Kimberley. And then what starts to happen, you start to see that there are project files here that have to do with particular trips that I took. Now I organize my photographic reference in this way because I can find almost immediately mentally what the photograph is and what file it's in. I photograph it in terms of its geographic location, you know, the date that I was there, the trip that I took, and my brain is just able to make that connection. Now you might have a particular way of organizing this, but so long as it's organized, that's the key. So here, there was a few different trips, and I'm thinking specifically about 2 different lots of reference material. Now, the True North, amazing vessel. Wow. I got to be an artist in residency aboard this beautiful boat, the True North, back in 2010. Now, this was before I was shooting any video, really. I was just doing still images, but I know that there's something here from 2010, this particular folder. Let's just have a quick look in here. And when I'm shooting reference, you'll start to get an idea. I'm not shooting specific landscapes. I'm just shooting everything because you never know when you could take a bit of orange rock and drop that into a landscape. It doesn't matter that it's overcast. We can come up with any lighting angle to shine on this situation. This is a particular area called the Hunter River. And you'll start to see just whatever I could get out of the chopper window. But I know, from memory, I know that we passed over some beautiful waterfalls. I mean, look at these islands out in the middle of the bay here. You know, coming through, shafts of light coming in, illuminating some of this beautiful orange rock in the landscape. I'm starting, as I go through the file, going, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And what I can do is actually put these aside in another reference file. Maybe we could add it to our waterfall idea. And again, all of this just shot through the window of the chopper. I mean, there's somebody's sleeve. I think in this flight, from memory, I was sitting between people, just leaning over, like full paying guests of this vessel, just going, oh, excuse me, big lens just getting in their way. So yeah, it's quite rude, but hey, it's all for the art, right? I'm sure they understand. This cliff that's just protruding out into the middle of that space just seems precariously balanced there. Bit of a profile there on that rock too. And again, as photographic reference, it ain't much, but in our hands, as artists, as painters, we're gonna be able to do so much with this. And some of that beautiful broken light just grazing across the landscape. Isn't that just epic? That's so cool. So cool. Might have to do an aerial landscape with the Kimberley. Look at that. That's almost painting itself in a way. There's very little composing that you'd have to do to that to make a really interesting painting. Some cascades in the foreground, but we've got to kind of curve around and see this from a different point of view for the waterfall to actually show up. So he's done a circle back here, and there it is, just hovering above that pool, and then the waterfall appears. Now, can we turn this into a cool painting? Let's call that idea 1. Idea 1. Okay, here we go. We're gonna call this Kimberley Waterfall idea number 1. Now, what I'll do is I'll drag this over and you'll see this now on the screen. Here's our reference file for idea 1. Kimberley Waterfall idea 1. Now, how many images have we got here just as an example? 68. It's pretty good to start with. Maybe too much information there, but we're gonna start picking and choosing, pulling all these ideas and bringing it together. There's number 1. Let's make a file for Kimberley Waterfall idea number 2. New folder, here we go. Now, I do know that my client mentioned something at the exhibition, right? Here's what he mentioned. He said, I really, really love the clarity of the water in the Milford Sound painting. Now let's take the Kimberley Waterfall idea, turn it on its head, and come up with something really cool. I'm gonna have that water. Look at that water right there. That is some nice water. That too. Great reflection on that water too. Great quality of the rock. That is Kimberley rock. Just sensational. First time I was ever in a chopper was this trip, about 11 years ago. Nervous as heck, but it was amazing. Now the waterfall is starting to reveal itself. I love that. This area, this is called Eagle Falls. Amazing. These are clear water pools. Freshwater crocodile all through it. Look at the color coming through there. Look at the difference between that blue shadow cutting across, that contrast with the brilliant green. Really nice. Some nice saturated color there too. Different light angle to what we were talking about before, but this is, oh, come on. Look at the light. Look at the rain. Look at the light coming off that waterfall and the rainbow coming. Can you see that? It shifts from yellow through to green, through to violet. Ah, oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Some nice ferns just clinging to that rock. Sensational. Oh, it's so good. Like, I don't know. Can you hear it in my voice? Can you hear how excited I get about this stuff? It's just amazing. Look at this. This is the waterfall from a different point of view. Here we go. Kimberley Waterfall idea number 3. And new folder, idea number 4. 5. I can't even count. 5. There we go. Okay, so idea number 1. Let's give idea number 1 a title. Let's call idea number 1 Aerial Falls. Let's call idea number 2, because it's kind of tucked away, some reflections in clear water. Let's call that Secret Falls, right? So you're in a secret little spot. It's protected either side with these rocks, beautiful clear water, and a nice little cascade in there. Waterfall idea number 3, and we're going to call this Atop the falls. Obscure angle perhaps, but we could make something work with this. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? And that way you could be looking from pool to pool to pool and it falls away into the landscape. We can come up with something really cool there. Now, I do know that he mentioned something particularly, and I want to make sure I keep this guy happy. Idea number 3, atop the falls. So I'm just going to chuck this in here. But one of them has got to be a particular waterfall called Mitchell Falls. Oh, look at that. Okay, and I'll drag a few more into this file. So I like this tree here. I don't know if that could work, but that might work for that secret cascade painting. Look at that water. Could we use that? So look at the shapes in that water. Look at the pattern there, the way the water ripples stretch things out. How cool is that? Yeah, would have been very nervous to paint that back in the day. Oh, there's a bit of rock action there. Let's get some rocks. Oh, rocks and water. I'm all about it. Come on. Does it get any better than that? No, it does not. Look at that rock wall. Look at the texture in that rock wall. Can you not see? Like, look at the information that's in here. Look at the quality of the edges, the quality of the color, the light. How cool. All right, that's going in the secret cascades. That gives us an idea of scale. There's not going to be any people in this painting, but we're going to put that one in atop the falls file. Let's throw that in there. That one there, that gives you an idea of the height of that. Nice wide angle there. I love the color of look at the greens and reds. Beautiful, interesting colors. Look at the sedimentary, how that's warped and twisted. Very typical of the Kimberley. Those layers in the rock, very cool. That's got to go on the file. Beautiful bit of rock work in the foreground. Love that water coming through and spilling through those rocks. Look at that landscape. Look at the light coming through the landscape. The contrast, the color. That's pretty cool. That's got to go in the aerial falls. Just a beautiful landscape. Next idea, Mitchell Falls. I'm pretty sure that's file number 5. I think we could use some energy and some beautiful water and mist kind of coming up. We could even get a bit of a 19th century vibe with this. I could see potential for it here. This is cool. This is cool. We could definitely use this. I'm thinking clear water. What is that? What is that? Right? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. Look at the clear. It don't get any clearer than that. That is just, you want to paint a picture of somewhere that you want to be, and you just want to dive into that crystal clear water. Look at that rock, man. Come on. Look at that rock. Look at the sharpness and the angles and the interest in there. Look at this. Look at this water. I can't even sit still. I can't even do it. I can't look at this water. This is amazing. Come on, bro. Come on. Okay. Just so we can appreciate the water. Let's go. Let's turn this around. Come on. Look at this. Look at this. I can't even do it. Alfie, look at that water, bro. Look at that water. How cool is that water, bro? Do you want me to paint that? You don't really care, do you? Well, I care. Look at how green it is. It's so beautiful. All right, dogs don't care. Oh, look at the swirls down in there. That's so cool. That is just nuts. That's just the most beautiful pool you ever seen. If that is not the most beautiful pool you ever seen, I just don't know what to tell you. It's certainly up there for me. Love this amphitheater. I love it. So I'm thinking about combining the two ideas. I like a bit of tree in there, a bit of the greenery. Dang, look, and the light now coming in. Now, the light and shade's going to be important. So maybe we can take our light from somewhere else and add it to the scene. Now that one's slightly underexposed, but it's good for the highlights. Look at this here. So here we've got faded out and shadowed in the background, lit in the foreground. That's pretty nice. Let's add that to the file. Okay. Look at that. Just stunning. I've painted it a bunch. I painted it from a bunch of different angles. This is the scene from that epic Kimberley painting, and the view in that epic Kimberley painting is taken from standing up here on this rocky shelf somewhere. So we might have something here and some potential for a vertical scene. That looks like good information for on top of the falls, doesn't it? I think so. Let's go ahead and drag that in there. Now, I've used this in a few paintings. I've used this in Epic Kimberley as well. But it's good reference. There's good information here about what water does as it's spilling over a rock ledge. We could add that. Now, see, you recognize that scene now? There was a bit of that reference material used in the Epic Kimberley painting. Beautiful light. That could be like a simple composition, but loads of energy. That's one of those powerful, dynamic kind of pictures I'm talking about. Different type of scene, different feeling that you'll get from it, but very, very epic indeed. So we can still make something work with that, but I would really like more information, especially with the light in that scene. Let's open up that file and see if I can locate that drone footage. Okay, I've got this beautiful series of clips here, shot by my buddy Ollie from the True North. But some of these are really cool. I'm gonna pause it there. Look at this waterfall here. Just stunning. This gave me a really good idea, right? For the aerial view one, but also maybe Jackson Falls as well. So a couple of those ideas. It's beautiful. There's a lot here to use. So what I'm gonna do is right here, I'm gonna take a couple of screenshots. Really nice. So a couple of screenshots there. And if you have a look here at these rocks just on this shelf here on the left-hand side, what if we were looking from the water over this shelf at that falls right there? I've got an interesting angle there. Could get some clear water in there too. So we'll think about that one. Now you may have seen me paint this with a very distinct pyramidal shape in the center. The closer you get to that cliff right there, the more that pyramid starts to reveal. There's the tip of it right there. And there's the boat right there in the falls. Absolutely stunning. You can see just how big this is when you're looking at it here with a couple of scale items here. Like, that's a huge boat. That's a helicopter. It's a little dinghy there. You can see it's absolutely massive. Raft Point, Glycosmus Falls, King's Cascade. There's Mitchell Falls. There's a little bit of video right there of Mitchell Falls. He didn't put more in there for me, but that's interesting. That gives us some information on flow, doesn't it? This could definitely be used for something just unbelievable. So I'm going to take a picture of that just because that might be a really cool effect to put in our painting. And we'll cut together a bit of a time lapse as I sketch this together. And once I've got an initial sketch, a line drawing with a bit of tone in there, more or less reminiscent of a pencil sketch, I'll come back and we'll talk about where we're at, and maybe we'll have something to transfer to a bigger design. But what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way through a series of sketches, and then we're going to go through, once we have those sketches, and work them up as bigger designs and color the lot of them. So we're just working very much in a process, production line. Here we go. This is phase one, the pencil sketch. Let's do it. I am pretty happy with that so far. I've sacrificed a couple of ideas to make way for some other stuff. So we've gone very much with this image here. I do like that a lot. And it's almost a cross between this and this one right here, this little hidden gem. Let's see if we can move it out of there so we can actually see it. And that's quite nice too. So it's kind of, we've descended down into the gorge. We're looking at the waterfall. We've cleared a little bit of those cliffs left and right out of the way. It's kind of immediate, but I want to be channeled in as well in terms of the perspective. You feel like you're being pulled into this. So notice here this really distinct line right here. Okay, this is important. Am I drawing even on the right layer? I'm probably not even drawing on the right layer. I was drawing on that layer. When you get in the zone, you just, whatever. Whatever. I don't care, Antonio. Okay? Right, bro? All right, right here. That's my horizon line right there. We'll just firm that up. Right there. So everything above that line is basically diminishing down and angling in towards it. So you would have seen me before. Oh, that's out of place now. You would have seen me before put a vanishing point right there on the horizon line. It should be right on the line, right? And so everything on this side is working its way over towards that point. So if it's above the line, it angles downwards, aiming right at that X right there, okay? And everything below that line angles up to meet it as well. What's that effect? Well, it puts us in a context where now we feel like we're down below the top lip of that waterfall. We're coming down into the canyon. We're looking at this thing, but those lines of perspective driving in from the diagonals into the scene really anchor the composition and pull the viewer in. And also notice the position. Yes, it's about a waterfall, but notice the position here of our actual fall is over to the left-hand side. So I'm getting that over in the composition a fair ways. So yes, it's central, but it's not dead center. So it's just over enough to give us a slight feeling of balance, asymmetrical balance. And now I'm balancing that out, anchoring it with a pool down here in the bottom foreground. And that pool is going to be turning into a little bit of a cascade or river that's going to exit through the right-hand bottom corner. Not on the corner, not on the diagonal, but generally flowing off that way. So pretty happy with that as a sketch. I'm going to firm up this sketch and we'll develop this a little bit further. And I'll see if I can actually get my my drawing back. What layer did I draw that on again? That one there. Okay, let's I've got a workaround. I can do this. Look at this. Look. All right, Command C. Go back down to that layer. No, come on. Command C. Down to this layer. Command V. All right, and now let's move it. I guess that'll work. And then on this layer, there we go. It's there. I might have doubled up on some of the lines, but it's there, right? So I go back to this one, select it, and delete it. See, no harm. It's all good. Good save. Good save. All right, we're back to drawing on the right layer this time. Okay. Very happy with the way that first one came out. A few things I want to work on. There's no light in it, for instance. We're going to talk about light coming up pretty soon. But now we've got our second idea to work on here for our design. Let's go ahead and familiarize ourselves with that. We'll pull some reference in there. So this is the Secret Cascade. Clear water, looking at this from water level. Maybe a little bit of a gentler scene. We got some clear water there. There's going to be a few things here with clear water. Some pandanus, maybe. Some trees, definitely. Some rocks, absolutely. But that cascade. is going to be key. I like these boulders. That's nice. Beautiful water there. Some nice texture. Now, I think we're going to have to feature that waterfall, though, because that's the brief. We're going to have to feature that waterfall. So with such a waterfall, especially something with that much energy in it, I mean, look at what it does to the water there in the foreground. We should probably have a bit more energy in the foreground water. Not so clear and reflective. This is getting there. That'd be fun to paint, too. That type of water. Look at that. Look at the movement there. I mean, you could see the rocks, you can see the movement, but it communicates some energy there rather than just a straight up reflection, which is cool, but I think for this idea, we're going to go with that. I love this rock wall. Maybe we could use that in there somewhere. And I like this little bit of falls sneaking through. Very cool. So here, with this collection of boulders, the trees sticking up, and this little river here coming through the foreground, just going over those rocky shelves, I'm digging that a bunch. I think that's pretty cool. So I might go ahead and just start riffing on that and just see what we can come up with. And there's a waterfall to go in the background. All right, we'll start with the waterfall first. We'll place that, and then we'll work on those foreground elements and see what we can do. All right, here we go. Well, I'm happy so far with where this drawing's going. I always get nervous by creating a tunnel composition, flanking left and right with tall elements, arching those vectors over in the composition and then going through. But I think this could work as a vertical format, a little on the extreme side, but it does create a nice space. It does feel quite protected and sheltered. And look, I gotta say, come on. Are you with me on this? How cool is that tree with those roots going over that rock? That's pretty cool. So we're going to get that in there too. I think this one really does have some potential. It's certainly something that I would be excited about painting if my client decides to go with this option. But if not, no worries. I might paint it anyway. So that's the idea. Essentially, when we want to create a whole bunch of designs that it doesn't matter what direction they go, we're happy, they're happy, everyone's happy. Now I just got to make sure you're happy. I hope you're happy. Are you happy? It's a good day today. We're here. So I'm going to get some more texture in here, some lines, some hatching, and then eventually some light. But essentially we're just going for a tonal dynamic, the major vectors, forms, and shapes, light, dark, that sort of thing. Notice here the slight shift in tone that I've made. I was drawing previously all in one tone pretty much, but here towards the foreground, I might get some heavier, darker darks, and that will bring some of these elements right into the foreground. Create some of that textured effect here with these foreground shapes and these rocks, these boulders and things. So that'll create a bit more sharpness there, a bit more definition, deeper tone, bringing it forward. Okay, here we go. All right, let's get that reference material out of there. Delete those layers. Delete that one. We've got two designs. We're getting there. You can see my style's changed slightly. That's all right. Okay, I am going to do the next one now. What is our next idea, please? What do we have here? Idea number 3. We've got atop the falls. So another waterfall, this time on top of the falls. We're going to have some variety here. We're going to have some real variety. Now again, rough sketches, but once the pencil sketch is done, we're going to start to work them up with color, and I'll be applying some of those compositional changes, playing that what's working, what's not working, what if game. Probably not going to go in too much detail, because I'm going to run through that again in real detail and go all the way with it once the client finally approves it. I know what you're thinking, but hang on a second, Andrew. How can you change the composition after your client has already approved the design? Well, it's a concept, and I'm going to let my client know from the outset that it might change, and I'll keep them up to date with all of those changes. But I'm not going to be veering from these ideas too much where I think it's going to be noticeable. We have the idea pretty much set. The only thing that's going to happen now is shifting things left, right, changing masses slightly, putting a rock in, taking a rock out, adding some trees, minor stuff as far as the client's concerned, but things that would have a significant impact as far as we're concerned, right? Because we're looking at this through the eyes of an artist. And I think, it might be a little conceited, but I think we can see things and things impact us, whereas most people don't give it a second thought. Am I right? Do you think that? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's go ahead and get into design number 3. Okay, design number 3, atop the waterfall. So we've got some really cool reference here. I like this. So we're taking it from right at the edge of the waterfall, get some extreme angles happening here in the foreground. That water spilling over the edge. You're seeing it from a slightly unusual vantage point. Be some clear reflective water in here for sure. But let's get something a bit more extreme. Extreme. Look at that. How cool is that? Pretty extreme. Does it get more extreme than that? Maybe. I like this. That's cool. There, that one's a bit more extreme. That gives you an idea of the vertical nature of it. Could we combine those two? I think we might be able to. That would be pretty neat. So, what else do we have for atop the falls? Look at this. Yeah, I feel this one is really gonna have some dynamic energy to it. Do we want it going off the left or off the right? Left or right? Left or right? We're gonna flip a coin. Okay, tails says the waterfall goes off the right-hand corner. Head says it goes off the left. Ready? Left-hand corner. Okay, let's take that image there. Edit, view, tools, flip horizontal. Just like that. Very nice. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, this has got some really interesting stuff going on in it. Okay, let's go ahead and put all of these into our Photoshop image and let's start drawing and get a line drawing for this, our third option for our Kimberley design. Here we go. I'm kind of happy with that design. That's cool. So you can see here, it's kind of smushing together that atop King George Falls and Eagle Falls there. It's a bit of an extreme view. It's a really different angle. Never really would have thought about painting that before, but it could totally work. It could totally work. It's more of like a waterfall study. Man, I'd love to paint that. That'd be so cool. All right, let's get the reference out of there and let's just see where we're at. There we go. We got 3 designs. 3 down, 3 to go. We're on a roll. Next design. I've got some reference here. We're on top of Mitchell Falls. Let's go ahead and shift this stuff around. Get in there. And yeah, start drawing some good stuff. So this one, it's kind of looking similar to the other one. I get it. Very, very similar in a way to that old jobby up there at the top right. So there's something we can do about that, I'm sure. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and... No, I'll do it later. I don't know. I'm undecided. Anyway, here we've got another really epic waterfall. I'm thinking about bringing some energy here. The flow is going to be important. The light's going to be important. It specifically has to be Mitchell Falls, but I got to play with that perspective and maybe shift that bottom falls instead of going off to the side. It's more coming at you, so we'll play with the position of the viewer here. All right, let's get stuck in. Here we go. Okay, I know it ain't much, but it's an idea, right? It's just a sketch for now. So we'll get to some degree of resolution as we develop this. Now, I was saying before that this one is actually feeling very similar in theme to this one here. So number 3 is quite similar to number 4. Number 3 being atop the falls, and here this is typical of Mitchell Falls, that staircase double falls there, and seen it for quite close up. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and take, so I'm on the right layer, we'll take this and we will, I don't know if this is going to work. Is this going to work? Transform, flip horizontal. Maybe? Great. That totally worked. How's that for variety? Just like that. Take that one, Antonio. Amateur. All right, let's get on to number... Kidding, bro. Chill out. Take it. Let's go. Let's get on to number 5 now. Okay, what's the next one? Thundering Falls. Interesting. Okay, I'm on it. I think we need a bit of extra reference material for idea number 5. So let's jump into our Kimberley folder. 2010 trip again. Thinking it's file number 3, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, once or twice. Let's have a look here. Okay, so this is a right area. What I'm looking for is foreground rock elements and foreground water. That's some nice water. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in the folder over here for our foreground water. I think we could do a pretty good job here though with, so that's some nice rocky elements right there, isn't it? Very underexposed with that reference material, but we might be able to edit it, manipulate it. Clarity in the water, right? Sharp rocks in the foreground. Blurry reference material, I don't care, I'm putting it in. Hopefully I got it sharp there. Okay, that's sharp. Good. Good. Nice one. Now all we need is water in those falls. We can do that. Of course we can do that. Look at the clarity in that water and reflection on top. Can we pull that off? Now that is, we've got movement and we've got transparency, we've got so many aspects there all at once. That's going to be a challenge to capture. Even if he doesn't choose this type of scenario, I'm painting it anyway. Look at that. Come on, mate. Look at that water. That's so nice. Very nice. Do you know what would be really cool is hiding a massive saltwater crocodile under here somewhere. I mean, he's down there. But it would just be really, really cool to make a discovery and go, oh my goodness, it's alive. That's nice with a bit of shade on the rocks, some dappled light, bit of a mangrove there growing in amongst it. You don't want to spend a lot of time hanging around water's edge here. You really don't. It's a bad idea. Bad news. Oh, so nice. Put that in there, even though we're looking the opposite direction, but come on. Come on, mate. You can see that suspended rock shelf right there. That's perfect for a saltwater crocodile just to hang out right there. Just waiting for a tourist. I feel like some of this would make a really good reference material for that atop the falls. While I'm here, I'm going to just add that to the file. These are really nice angles and perspective. Okay, I think that's gonna do us just fine. No worries. All right, I'm gonna chuck on some good tunes. Maybe a Glenn Hansard playlist or something. Maybe some chill beats, I don't know, but one of my favorite things to do is just work into the small hours. Everybody's asleep. And I can get a bit of concentration time in. Here we go. Well, there's 5 down. That's kind of cool. And some variety there. Now 3 and 4 are pretty similar, yeah, but I'm quite happy with number 5. It's going to give us an opportunity for some really nice water, some clarity there. Big chunky rocks in the foreground to balance out that thundering falls there in the background. Let's get on to our final design and do a quick sketch up. And then what we're going to do is go back to number 1 and just one by one start coloring these, applying a few compositional changes and bringing the initial phase of this concept to a close. And then from there, submit it, see what they think, whatever. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, design number 6. Let's get into it. So what do we have here? We've got a really nice green pool. Right? I was thinking of an amphitheater, but I don't know. Something really nice about this. Just simple. Maybe a bit of greenery growing out of the cliff walls there. But just a really simple waterfall scene might be nice. Don't get it overcomplicated, you know? Maybe a little bit of rockery in the foreground. That could work. Either side. Very nice. Give the viewer something to access in the foreground, so we've got a mechanism to enter the pool. Don't just cut it off at the water. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got some ideas to play with here. What about that amphitheater though? What about that? Could that work for part of it? Yeah, no, we need a tree. We've got to have a tree. Got to have a tree. Okay. Command C. Command V. All right. That's good. Let's get this one in here. Command Alt, Command C. There we go. V. Excellent. Let's put this one in here. Right. Command Alt, Command C. Command V. That's good too. I like it. I like it a lot. Command Alt, Command C. Excellent. And that's it. Command V. Brilliant. Okay, let's move these around. It just helps having them right here, right? Actually, what would make sense? A thinking person would do it like this. Put that one there. Put that one there. Ish. Put that one there. They kind of line up, right? Just shift that one out the way over there. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. Okay. Got my work cut out for me. What to do here? What to do? Yeah, tree on the left. Rocks come down to water level a bit more. So take the perspective of this image here. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Let's get stuck in. Well, I'm tired. I think I'm going to call it tonight and hit this again in the morning, ready for some color. But, oh, man. We got 6 designs up on the board. And 6 designs on the board, and I must say, a few diapers changed, a few dishes washed. Few loads of laundry. Well, the laundry wasn't my job, to be honest, but that was Rachel doing that. But I chopped some wood, so I was doing other stuff as well. So if Antonio's sitting there going, "You're not that quick, bro. You're not that quick," I know. I've got stuff to do. Why don't you help me? You're awesome at this. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll pick it up in the morning. I'm pretty happy about this. I'm pretty pumped about some of these ideas. Well, all of them actually I'm pretty dang pumped about. I think this is going to be a fun project. Whichever one ends up being chosen, I'm pretty excited. All right, go to bed, Andrew. Go to bed. Yeah. Well, I must say, I'm very happy. Having slept on this, waking up today, coming back to the computer screen here and I'm inspired. I'm inspired to get stuck into this project. Now, I'm not saying these designs are perfect. They are not. They're absolutely not. They're far, far from it. But this is a pretty good representation of the ideas, the stuff that was just floating around in my head, things that were coming out of the digging into that reference file. Again, been a decade since that trip. But I knew that there was something there that I'd be able to use for this commission. So glad that I had that on file. Still awesome. So what I'm going to do now is just go back to the beginning, one by one. Let's play a little game. We're going to go through this so fast because by the end of business today, these have got to be delivered. Wish me luck. Going to need a few more of these. So, number one, let's go back to it. We have this image here. This was our slight aerial view, I was calling it at the time, but not really aerial anymore. Yeah, we're kind of elevated. We're looking at it from pretty high up, looking down on this pool below, but we're definitely in the gorge. What this is causing us to do is focus on that waterfall. I kind of like it. Maybe what we could do before we get there is to really provide options for my client, to really get some options there. Is there any one of these that is weaker than another? I'm going to call it. This is a difficult decision to make, but I want to make space for one more. I want to make sure that my client is getting variety. I think that number 3 and 4 could be combined. I don't think we need both. They pretty much say the same thing. Let's take that. Let's go there. They'll go transform. Flip horizontal. There we go. I mean, looking at that, there's some really cool foreground elements there that could be added to this painting. Number 4, Mitchell Falls. And again, I'm going from left to right, top to bottom. So no, that's number 3 right there, number 4. So I'm thinking about combining these two. What I quite enjoy is this structure and perspective. That's really what this painting has going for it, is this kind of, where are we? Come on. There we go. This structure and perspective here, those leading lines going in, that's great. Why couldn't that be added to this to lead the eye in? Get rid of this little rock pedestal thing here, have that go all the way off the page, and maybe a couple of secondary trickles. I mean, these falls would absolutely do that in the wet season. I mean, all of these rocks are polished smooth because they just get, it just gets pummeled up there on that desert plain, and it all drains through this area here. So at some point, there's going to be another waterfall there. Why don't I add some of that to that painting? We could combine the two. That gives us the opportunity to do yet another design and give my client a bit more to think about. We have to do it. We have to do it. I mean, this is what it takes. So I'll turn that layer off. Okay, let's go up here and we'll copy that again. I'll get this on a new layer. Command V. Yeah, brand new layer. We're going to move it. We'll just shift that one down here. They even overlay quite nicely, I think. But I'll put that underneath and we'll turn that layer off. So it's there. We've saved it. Okay? Good. And then I'll just take whatever's in that square, delete. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's put in one more design and actually have some proper options, some good options. Good options. Excellent. Okay, here we go. Okay, very quick sketch here, but I'm happy with that. Check it out. Now we've got some variety. That's an option that we didn't have before. The extreme aerial view, taking into account the distance and the depth. So literally here we've got different kinds of waterfall, different kinds of spaces. It's really going to show itself when we start coloring this thing and getting, working out what's actually happening with our textures, our light, our shade, our colors. These are going to be some interesting designs, I think. But let's go ahead and save that before I go any further and get to work. And we'll go, again, left to right. Let's start coloring these things and get some interest and texture and light and life in here. Okay, here we go. All right, I found some cool 19th century paintings to inspire the lighting in this particular design. So we're going back with color now. This is the view just looking at the falls, a bit of a pool in the foreground. Very cool. This was originally the aerial design, right? But now we've kind of gone halfway there. I love this church painting, Frederick Edwin Church. Look at that use of lighting in that painting. You see how he's concentrated the brightest light right here towards the top of the arch, and it just fades into a subtle shadow. And then down here with the figures, he's lit them ever so slightly, but everything else just fades away. He's lit the painting where he wants you to look. That's really cool. Let's do something similar in this. And while I'm at it, this 19th century painting as well has a similar effect. I forget the artist's name. I just found that in a search. If I can find, I've used this before for a critique video. If I can find the artist's name, I'll put it on the screen or down below. But maybe it's Calumet, maybe it's Hans Gude, maybe it's Muller. I can't remember. Anyway, selective use of light. Look at the waterfall in the foreground. Look at all these foreground shrubs, how it's subdued and in the shade. There's still a depth in the tone of the shadows, bring that foreground well forward, but he's illuminated that little shelf right there where the water is just cascading over those rocks. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Look at that. You don't like it, Alfie? Why don't you like it? Come on. Yeah, so this is just great example of lighting in a painting. So I'm going to put that in this one, and here we go. Let's do it. I'm really enjoying this design so far, and you can see how I'm using a similar type of lighting and character to what we're seeing in that church painting, Edwin Church right there. So what I'm going to do now is just increase the saturation and brightness of some of those highlights, get a bit more of that red color in there. It's interesting that the rocky geology here in Church is painting very similar to that to that of the Kimberley. So what I need is a bit more saturation, a bit more brightness, some more violets, and maybe a few more deeper blues in that shadow area, and play those colors off against one another. And I think we'll be close. And then once I've got some painterly strokes of color here in this digital design, I'll go ahead and start adding some more refinement and lines over the top so we really get an idea. But if you squint, you really get an idea of where this painting's going. Very simple. Very, very simple. I like that. All right, here we go. All right, we've got one design down. Pretty happy with that. It's got a bit of that churchy vibe, that 19th century vibe. It's kind of cool. I'm digging it. I hope you are too. Hope my client does. Anyway, I would totally paint this. I might even do like a small study of it, maybe a 20 by 24 or something. I'd totally paint that. It's a bit of an unusual landscape. Sure. Not much of a foreground. Everything's kind of at the same distance, but as just like a nice bit of decorative art, it could totally work. To make it more traditional and not such a weird angle, you could probably bring a foreground element in there a bit more, like let's say, have something cutting in left or right. But what essentially, let me, just so we're on the same page here, let me draw that in. Essentially what I could do is bring something in here to actually stand on a ledge or what have you. And then that way, that would give us foreground. We've got the midground sorted. If we wanted more background, I could probably just, instead of making the horizon line here, maybe raise it a little bit. That could work. Raise our point of view, shift our perspective up so that we're looking down into the scene. Does that make sense? Not really. Okay, whatever. I am going to get on to the next design. This was a lot of fun. Save that document. And here we go. Next one. Let's just start motoring through. know if you can see that. Right there. See that? My eyes are going bloodshot from staring at the screen for so many days now. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Andrew, just hurry up and get it done. Don't be there so long. Just speed it up. I know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, I'm having fun. Here's where I'm at. We've got 3 designs done. I didn't make the deadline. I got an extension. All good. And I'm going to carry on here now that I've done these 3. And so we have that more distinct aerial view. Remember what we're talking about? So we've got this kind of view within the gorge. Then well and truly at the bottom of a waterfall or a series of cascades, there's a nice tree, gnarly roots clinging onto the rocks. That's going to be kind of fun to paint. Something hokey going on with that tree. Not a big fan. I was playing with something, didn't work. If they choose that, then I'm going to change that tree somewhat, maybe do something, make it a different species or whatever. I like the idea, don't like that tree. Anyway, it is what it is. Moving on. A more aerial view here on the 3rd design. So this, I think, is giving an option that was not here previously. I was going in that direction initially, kinda, but now it's good to have that up on the board as something that is different to the other designs. Took me a while to think of that word. Anyway, need more coffee. Now, finally, I'm going to work on Mitchell Falls. Well, not finally. I've got more work to do. But I'm going to get to this little scribble here. It's funny, my agent was saying, he was zooming right in. He was going, when I zoom in on your drawing, there is nothing there and it looks stupid. When I zoom out, he said, it's amazing. Thank you. He did, to be fair, he didn't say it looks stupid, but I added that bit because it kind of does. It looks like I can draw too. I'm drawing pictures. Andrew, you herped when you should have derped. Anyway, so I'm going to add some more to this now. We're going to get some color in there. We're going to add a bit more waterfall action to the foreground right-hand corner. And nothing like it. No time like the present. So why don't we just get on with it, right? Here we go. warm day up here in the studio. Beautiful day though. Still, it's good to be in the Kimberley too. Now look, I'm getting there with these designs. We're about to do the final 6 design with the coloring. Going a bit further with this, taking a lot more time than I thought I would, but very happy overall with the designs with the exception of one. And that's that middle one, number 2, right in the middle, top row. I found some more reference. We'll talk more about that. I'm thinking I'm going to redo that one because I am now thinking that with all of these awesome options, I don't want to have to paint that. I'm not happy with it. There's something there. It would work as a landscape vertical format, not too happy. So, I mean, I could make it work, but that tree is funky. Anyway, so I'm going to do away with that. I hope no one's too attached to that because it's not going to make it. So finally, going to color this last one here. And yeah, excited to see where that goes. But all in all, pretty happy with this process. Okay, number 6, here we go. Down to the wire now. Last design. Looks pretty good as a set of 6. Not too sure this one in the top center is going to make it. Just going to say. Anyone who's attached to that, don't get that way. I have a feeling it's going to be gone. But who knows? Something about that tree. A bit funky. Not in a good way. Thinking about options. Anyway, this is my last one down here. This one is based on an area called Jackson Falls. Beautiful, crystal clear water. Remember that water that I was losing my mind about? Yeah, that's this one. All right, no time like it. Let's get started and get designing and drawing on this. And I think I'm getting better with my sketchy brush technique. I might say. I think Antonio would be impressed. It's not very quick, but it's all right. Drawing directly over the top of my previous sketchy lines. It's got a bit of a watercolory, painter, almost texture pen vibe to it. It's a lot of fun, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, we'll get in some of these really nice, dark, rich reds here in the cliff, and then I'll work my way into the foreground with some of that brilliant blue. This one is going to be really about that red, green, orange, blue type deal with the playing off of the complementary opposites, but only in a couple of places am I going to have that intensity of the color. A lot of it is going to be subdued, very tonal. So, should be good. Anyway, enough gas bagging. Let's get to it. Well, I've deleted that design. I feel okay about that. It's gone. I've cleared some space here now, and I'm going to start to draw up a brand new one, and I found some great reference material. Okay, so here is my reference. I've got a file of about, I'd say, a dozen images of this. Let me see if I can open this one. Will you let me open? There we go. Okay, so here's another waterfall. Now, this is part of the same system. So if I just do a bit of a mishmash here, I'll get this arranged here on the screen so you can see the two different images at once. Here we go. Will that work? That might work. There we go. So this is a general idea. We'd have this waterfall flowing into the composition, and then this river and cascade over these rocks coming into the foreground. I think that's quite nice. What this could use, though, is a bit of that 19th century landscape type lighting. What I'm talking about is this type of thing. You see this right here, this selective spotlighting within the landscape to draw attention to the subject. I really like that. There's another example of it there. Very slow internet, very low resolution on that, but you can kind of get what I'm saying there, even with a pixelated image. Remember this one? We were talking about that before. So look at here how we've only, the artist has only selectively lit part of that landscape. So I've got to be a little bit strategic here. Again, it's just a design, a little bit of a scribble. There will be much more that needs to be done to it, but I'm digging this and I want this design to have a bit of this type of lighting in there. Here's another one. Look at that. Awesome. It's got to be Hans Good. I'm sure that's Hans Good. Here's another one. Look at the light right there. Just selective, very subtle. So beautiful. Why aren't we doing this more nowadays? Why not? Anyway, so that's the idea. That's where I'm going with it. Let's go ahead and design this one, sketch it up.
about the 6 options he had to choose from, and feeling was right, he chose Jackson Falls, image 6, to start with, and he's very happy to get the process started, and is putting a bit of a deposit in this week, and then has a few ideas about it. And what he liked about Jackson Falls was the water in the foreground with the see-through rocks.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to painting it. I can't tell you. When I was going through the reference, Andreas, when I was going through that reference material, I was just like, man, this is going to be so much fun to paint.
Cool.
Yeah.
He also, but he mentioned that the Ruby Falls, he would love to see a little bit of the sky and the green as in Ruby Falls. So basically, top half of Ruby Falls, lower half of Jackson Falls, something like this.
I can do that.
Possible?
I can do that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to then do a detailed digital drawing with that in mind, and then I'll resubmit that. And let's say end of the week.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
There's 2 more. He had 2 more wishes, and one wish is, he said, there's a certain turtle up in the Kimberleys.
Okay.
And he'd love to see a turtle in the foreground water.
A turtle. Okay, what's this species called?
He doesn't know, and I wouldn't know at all. But he said it's typical for the Kimberleys.
Well, this is a freshwater system, so it's pretty far away from the ocean. So it's not a sea turtle, but they do have freshwater turtles as well.
Yes, it's a freshwater turtle, yes.
Is it a Kimberley snake-necked turtle?
I don't know. But
Okay.
I can find out. If you want to send me that photo or something, I'll find out with him.
Oh, dude, I'll hide a turtle in the foreground for sure.
Beautiful. And he also asked, because in the Jackson Falls you have rocks.
Yeah.
When he stood in front of Milford Sound, he was absolutely taken by what you've done there in the foreground with the water and the rocks and even some logs, like...
Yeah.
He would love to see like something like this, something which reminds him of the Milford Sound painting in the foreground, like the rocks, a little of timber and the turtle. So
So what I'm hearing is it probably needs a bit of softening. It's pretty harsh with the rock and the water, so maybe a bit of greenery, fallen log, the turtle, but then a bit of green up in those cliffs. And that there's a little triangle up in the top where it's kind of, you're looking at an opposing canyon wall. What I'm going to do is bring sky into that portion and lighten it up. And what I might even do is even bring some greenery and some trees left and right, just kind of arching into the scene a little bit. So it's a little bit softer, a little bit greener. And that, I think, will make it a much nicer, easier on the eyes image. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to do something special. End of the week, I'll have something.
Beautiful. The one last thing.
Sure.
One last thing.
Yeah.
In the Kimberleys, you also find those very hard to spot rock wallabies.
Okay. All right. Look, just cut to the chase. He wants to play Where's Wally? Where am I going to put Wally? Come on.
If you look at Ruby Falls.
Yeah.
You see up top where the water appears.
Yeah.
Have some hard to spot rock wallabies there.
Okay. Ruby Falls. Let me have a look. Okay. Yeah. I can do it. I will make some sketches and some notes tonight in regards to this design to get a head start on it for this week. Oh, bro.
That sounds all awesome.
What a great result, man. Hey, what a fun project.
It is. So much looking forward to that.
Oh, well done.
There's more coming.
Well done, man. Yeah, awesome. Hey, congrats. Thanks, Andreas. This is cool.
Thanks, Andrew. Say hello to the family and God bless.
I will. Hey, God bless you too, mate. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there you have it. That has been an epic week of work. I said it was going to take 2 days, but it's taken way more than that. I was working all through the weekend. I was working some nights here and there, and a great result in the end. I am super stoked about it. I'm super happy. Yeah, a little bit tired. I'm going to catch up on some sleep, maybe catch up on a few chores, but it was great. So what happened here? Well, basically, as you heard from that phone call, he was looking at the designs. He picked his favorite one and then had a few of his own suggestions. And did you pick up how he took 2 of those designs and wanted to merge them? I'm all about it. I love that. So he could see something he liked in one area, and then he was looking at the water, and he was really responding to water in another one of my paintings, and he wanted more of that water that he could see in the Jackson Falls composition. So really, this is now going to be a case of going back to the drawing board and redesigning this thing and bringing those 2 halves together. So the work's not done yet. We haven't even started painting yet. This was just to get the client on the line and deposit paid and on the hook, basically. Bit of a business chat in this one, as well as a bit of technical. So I hope you've enjoyed this installment and you've come away with some new ideas, maybe some new business ideas, and maybe a bit more of an insight into how I work as a professional artist and the kind of process that I go through when it comes to painting a commission. So if you enjoyed this, then please let me know. Hit me up by commenting down below on Patreon or on YouTube where you're watching this. And again, these are exclusive videos just for you as a patron here on Patreon. So I'm going to ask you right now, please don't share that link. All right, it's just for you. All right, we've got a deal? Cool, awesome. Before I let you go, just want to say a huge thank you, and again, a shout out to everybody on the Tisch Zone. Now, if you want to know what the Tisch Zone is, it's not an essential. There's some people that are following here on Patreon that are not on Facebook. The Tisch Zone is just a bonus that I've tacked on here, but it's not really what Patreon's about here. The main thing with Patreon is giving you access to this exclusive content that you're not going to find anywhere else. But if you want to join an exclusive community, which is part of this, but again, not absolutely essential, but part of this, then make sure you jump over to Facebook, and I'll put the link on the screen here and I'll post it down below. Join us on the Tisch Zone. Yes, I know, it's a ridiculous name, but it stuck. That's an exclusive community of people just uploading their paintings, and the group is basically feeding itself now. People are jumping in with positive commentary and feedback on people's paintings, and I can really see people there when I'm there in the comment section looking at people's work. People are thriving in that type of environment that is dedicated to painting excellence and constructive criticism, and allowing each other to really explore the possibilities with their own painting and go even further with that. So if you want to check that out, then please do. Make sure you give me your Patreon name and agree to the group rules. There's a thing. I'm just going to say it now, all right? When you sign up to that page and you don't click the box of agreeing to the group rules, this is what I do. I'm just saying. So don't make me do that. Don't make me go there, all right? Click the little box that you agree to the group rules. Give me your Patreon name, and we're not going to have a problem. Okay? All right. Thanks so much for being here. I love you heaps. God bless you. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, happy painting. So long.